St. Moritz in Switzerland, the home of ice sliding and the 6th race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. First action on the natural track, the longest and fastest in the business, was men's skeleton, and a disaster for the most winning driver in history. Moritz popped the groove in the first heat, and he was lucky to make it in 20th place in a packed field. In a masterclass of resilience and form under pressure, Ducours simply blazed his way to a new track record in Heat 2 that would leave him not 20th, but 8th in the final reckoning. Into the top 5 and hunting for medals again this season, Germany's Axel Jung. Good start and a really fast run to break the track record set by Martins. Ducours was enough to put him in front of teammate Christopher Grother. Would it be enough for the medals? There were still 4 sleds to go, the first of whom, Thomas Ducours. He's had a slew of medals on this track, including being tied with his brother and several family 1-2s, but he was struggling to hold off Jung. The German's blistering run was only just eclipsed by Ducours, 0.04 of a second in front, giving away nearly all of his previous 2/10 advantage. Then the medals. Alexander Chetikov, the Russian rocket, has won just once on this track, the 2013 World Championships. Not only has he only won once, he's never had any other medals. That was all to change. A new track record from him would see him in the medals for the very first time in his World Cup career. Second after the first of the 2 heats, just 300ths quicker, his 10-year younger teammate Nikita Tregibov. Tregibov won the season opener in Sigulda, his first World Cup win, but he was not able to hang on in front of his teammate, dropping a 10th into 2nd position. 1 to go. It was a battle of Olympic champions, the Sochi champion versus the Pyeongchang champion. And Sungbin Jung of Korea had a 0.3 of a second advantage from the first heat. History was on his side as well. 26 podiums and 7 wins in his World Cup career, including 2 in the last 3 outings here. And he added to that with his 8th World Cup victory, his 3rd win in St. Moritz in 4 seasons. Alexander Chetikov takes his first ever World Cup medal, and Nikita Tregibov in 3rd place on the Swiss track. Sungbin Jung leads the World Cup rankings now, having overhauled Chetikov by 1 point as they head now to the North American swing and the final 2 World Cup races. Brilliant blue skies overhead for the women's skeleton competition in St. Moritz. In the second heat, Tina Hermann of Germany tried to undo a slightly disappointing first run. She was only in 8th position in a busy and highly competitive field, but a new track record, a blistering run from her, almost a second quicker than her first outing, would put her into the leader's box. She overhauled the Kimberly Boss of the Netherlands, and next up was the 6th place finisher in the first heat, her own teammate Sophia Griebel. Griebel had just 0.03 of a second in hand over Tina Hermann from the first heat, so clearly she too would need a track record, or within a whisker of it, to stay in front, and she couldn't find the speed she needed. Hermann stayed in the leader's box, overhauling both Sophia Griebel and, next up, Kendall Wessenberg of the USA. Hermann was still there when the newly crowned European champion Janine Flock came to the ice, fresh from victory on a home track in Innsbruck, and a track that plays much better for her long, lean, rangy frame. She couldn't hang on either, dropped back, and Hermann was in sniffing distance of the medals. 3 to go, Jacqueline Lurling in 3rd position. Lurling with good history so far this season. She's only been off the podium once. Her great record hasn't been matched here in St. Moritz. Could she put herself into the lead? Could she challenge for victory? The answer to the first part was yes. She led with 2 to go. Mimi Reneva of Canada 2 years ago won in St. Moritz by 1.8 seconds, a hitherto unheard of margin of victory. And after a really strong first run, she was only 0.11 behind the first heat leader. A searing track record in the second. Looked as though it was going to set her up for another victory in Switzerland. And so it was to prove. Our World Cup points leader, Elena Nikitina, outstarted her with a new start record, 5.09, but the speed drifted away below Horseshoe, and by the bottom of the track, she had slipped into second place. Relive taking her second career victory, her second in St. Moritz, a place where the solitude and the peacefulness of the mountains clearly resonates with Mimi. Victory ahead of Nikitina and Lurling, but it is still Elena Nikitina who holds the World Cup points lead as we head to the final 2 rounds in North America. Saturday dawned overcast in St. Moritz, but the ice was still hard and fast. Yoon Jung-won of Korea, the Olympic silver medalist in 4-man, is also a great 2-man driver. And the Hyundai sleds were producing fantastic speeds on the St. Moritz track. 6th after the first heat, he had to hang on in front of Great Britain's resurgent Brad Hall to leave himself in the leader's box with 5 to go. First of the 5 on the ice, a rare name in these elevated quarters over the last few years, but Maciej Lucia Poland is having an epic season in the 18-19 campaign. 5th after the first heat, only 200s ahead of Yoon Jung-won. He couldn't quite hang on, slipping 500s back, but another top 6 finish guaranteed for the pole. Into the final 4, and young Michael Vogt of Switzerland. This is only his 2nd year of driving a bobsled at any level. Competed in Europa Cup, the junior level last year, and in his 4th World Cup outing, with no races this season at all in St. Moritz, he guaranteed himself not only 4th place, but perhaps even a shot at a medal. Well, the man he'd have to catch was the winner 2 years ago, Hansi Lochner. Christian Rust back on the sled. The winning combination from 2 seasons ago was in winning form as well. A new track record. He'd been 3rd after the first heat. He was guaranteed at least a medal. Oskars Kibermanis, the Latvian, in 2nd place, 2200s off the lead, had never had a 2-man World Cup medal on this track before. That was to change though. He was in 2nd, Lochner led, 1 to go. German victory guaranteed with Hansi Lochner in the leader's box and Francesco Friedrich on the blocks. With Alexander Schuler, he won the season opener. He has not been beaten since, and in fact Friedrich has not been beaten in a 2-man since St. Moritz last year when Nico Walter got ahead of him. This time then there was no doubt. Start record and 2 track records to round out a resonating victory for Francesco Friedrich of Germany. The first time he's won in St. Moritz since taking the World Championship title in 2013. A long 6-year drought broken, and his winning streak continues now a year and a season long. Perfect conditions for the women's race on Saturday afternoon, with 3 German sleds packing the top 5. Anna Kohler, first of those, 4200s off gold, 2/10 out of the medals. She's already had medals this season. Could St. Moritz give her another one? First, she had to hold off Andrea Grecu. The Romanian, being 10th in the first heat, was the leader into the top 5. Kohler did what she needed to do, putting the Romanian back into 2nd place. Another great finish for Grecu and for Andrea Kohler. Misha McNeil in 4th place with Alicia Kiddle on the back handles, looking to try and hang on and equal her personal best that she set in Altenburg with a 4th place finish just a few weeks earlier. But 700ths of a second behind Kohler. She'd be in the top 5, Kohler heading closer to the medals. First though, Anna Kohler would have to see her teammates, the Olympic champion Mariama Yamanka, falter. Yamanka, just 2200ths out of gold from the first heat, had her eyes set on the main prize here in St. Moritz. It seems as though she cannot stop winning now since taking the Olympic title. 2500s in front of Kohler, 2 sleds to go. Yamanka in the lead with brakewoman Franziska Bertels coming back after a year recovering from a crash. That crash was with Stephanie Schneider, who lay in the silver medal position with Lisa Gericke, her brakewoman, just 1200ths away from gold. A couple of little errors creeping in for Stephanie Schneider, enough to keep her in front of Mariama Yamanka, her teammate. But would it be enough to put pressure on the leader for the gold medal in St. Moritz? But that leader, Alana Myers-Taylor, has won in Switzerland for the last 3 seasons. 3 years ago with Lauren Gibbs on the back of the sled again, 2 years ago with Brianna Jones, a year ago with Lolo Jones. And after a great track record and start record in the first heat, The American duo did it again, tying the start record and another track record to claim victory for the fourth straight year at a track that Alana counts among her favourites because it's where husband Nick Taylor proposed to her after 2013 Worlds, despite which Alana was in a really bad way before and after the race. Still sick, as she had been in Innsbruck. In fact, so sick that only Lauren Gibbs was there to collect the champagne on the podium. Nevertheless, it was the fourth straight win for Alana Myers-Taylor, ahead of Stephanie Schneider, Mariama Yamanka. Yamanka still leads the World Cup rankings from her teammates. Myers-Taylor up to fifth. Sunday morning and overcast conditions for the four-man, the blue ribbon event. But after a dry first heat, snow in the second, and Oskars Kībermanis of Latvia, the winner 2 years ago, with work to do. Only 8th place after the first heat, but a stunning track record would see him climb up the leaderboard. He overhauled Cody Basky of the USA and Dmitry Popov before Nico Walter came to the line. Walter 5th after the first heat was just a scant 500s in front of Kībermanis on run 1, and he was 23 hundredths behind the Latvians on run 2. Kībermanis edging closer to the medals. Next up, Maxim Andrianov of Russia. Now, all three Russian sleds had loading problems. Ruslan Samatov just getting in at the back, and Andrianov struggling to match the pace of the Latvian crew. 2 tenths behind at the line, and that would leave him ahead of Nico Walter, but not in the medals. Third after the first heat, after an astonishing run, Rudy Rinaldi of Monaco, the team from the tiny Mediterranean Principality, in a medal position for the first time in Rudy's life. Couldn't hold on ahead of Kībermanis, second with 2 to go, but guaranteed comfortably his best ever four-man result. 2 to go, and last year's winner, Hansi Lochner, 1300ths off the lead. Gregor Birnbach, one of his brakemen, having his last ever race. A little skid into Horseshoe would cost Lochner vital momentum, and that meant that he was struggling to try and overhaul the Latvians. He did by 200ths, but that was close enough, as coach René Spies acknowledged. Lochner disappointed with himself because he knew he had to pile the pressure on the last man to go, Francesco Friedrich. After a 6-year drought, Friedrich won the two-man race the previous day. He'd never been on the top step of the podium in a four-man, but everything has changed for Friedrich this season. The Olympic champion in 2 and 4, that's his 4th four-man win of the season, ahead of Hansi Lochner and Oskars Kībermanis. And Friedrich leads the two-man and four-man standings as we head next to North America and Lake Placid.